Before we begin, please make sure to subscribe. This story is not what it seems. I didn't plan to see what I saw. It was a quiet afternoon, nothing unusual. The kind of lazy, sun-washed day that makes everything feel still, boring even. And maybe that's why I got up from the couch. Maybe that's why I made 2 coffees instead of 1. I told myself it was just a friendly gesture, that maybe Jace would want a break from whatever he was doing upstairs. But that wasn't the truth, was it? I climbed the stairs slowly, one hand balancing the mugs, the other trailing along the railing. The hallway smelled like warm wood and faint cologne. His door was half shut, not fully closed. Something about that made me pause. "Jace," I called gently. No answer. I moved closer, just to set the mug outside. I wasn't going to intrude. I swear I wasn't. But when I stepped near the door, the angle shifted, and then I saw. My heart stalled. He was sitting on his bed, headphones on, eyes glued to his laptop. The glow of the screen lit his face, and what I saw reflected in it, God, I couldn't breathe. I froze, mug trembling in my hand. My first instinct was to turn away. I didn't. I stared, wide-eyed and ashamed of myself, ashamed of him. Or, no, I don't even know what I felt. It was too much, too sudden. Jace flinched like he'd been electrocuted when he noticed me. His fingers scrambled for the keyboard, yanking off the headphones. Alyssa, 2 didn't know the door," he stuttered, his face instantly flushed, voice cracking. I blinked, horrified. 2, the door was, "I brought you coffee," I said, holding it up like some kind of ridiculous excuse. We both stood there, or I stood, and he sat, half-covered and mortified. Silence spilled into the space between us, sharp, heavy, alive. I turned and walked out without saying anything else, nearly tripping over myself in the hallway. My chest felt tight, breath stuck in my throat. The mug was still in my hand, untouched. Back downstairs, I set the coffee on the kitchen counter and pressed my palms against the cool marble. What just happened? Why didn't I knock? Why didn't I look away? That evening, we said nothing. Jace stayed in his room. I kept myself busy with cleaning things that didn't need cleaning. Every time I passed the stairs, I felt like the air shifted, like it knew. Dinner was awkward. We sat at the same table, barely touching our food. He didn't look at me, and I couldn't look at him. I opened my mouth to say something, anything, but the words collapsed in my throat. His fork clinked against the plate, and I jumped slightly. We ate in silence, the kind of silence that holds too many questions, too much heat. Later that night, I stood by the sink, staring out the dark window, hands damp from rinsing dishes. I didn't hear him come into the kitchen. "Alyssa," his voice startled me. I turned. He looked nervous, his hair still messy, a hoodie thrown over his frame like armor. "About earlier," he said. I didn't mean for you to see that. I thought the door was shut." I swallowed. My throat felt dry. "You don't have to explain." "But I want to. I feel really stupid. And exposed. And I get it if you don't want to talk to me again. Or if you think I'm gross or—" "Stop." I cut him off gently. "Jace, listen. You're not gross. You're not. You're a grown man. It's your space. I shouldn't have. I should have knocked." We both stared at the tile floor. He let out a short, breathy laugh. "This is the most awkward thing that's ever happened to me." I smiled weakly. "Same." A pause. "Then, can we just pretend it didn't happen?" he asked. I hesitated. Something in his voice, the vulnerability, the way he avoided my eyes, made my chest tighten. "I don't think we can," I whispered. He finally looked up. "Yeah, I didn't think so either." We didn't talk the next day. Not a word, not a glance, just the weight of unspoken things trailing behind us like shadows. I folded laundry. He stayed in his room. We passed each other in the hallway once, and my breath caught in my throat. He looked away so fast I wasn't even sure we had made eye contact. But that silence, it wasn't blank. It was loud. I replayed the moment over and over in my head. Not just the accident, but the way he looked at me afterward. The way my own heart reacted. It wasn't just shock. It wasn't just embarrassment. It was something else. Something I wasn't ready to name. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, my thoughts crawling like static under my skin. I kept hearing his voice in my head. Can we just pretend it didn't happen? And my own answer, I don't think we can. I should have stopped it there, drawn a line. But instead, I got up. I padded out of my room and walked toward the kitchen to get water, or at least, that's what I told myself. But my feet slowed as I passed his door. It was slightly open again. Not wide, just enough. Light spilled softly into the hallway. He was on his bed, lying back with his phone in hand, earbuds in. The faint glow lit his face. He looked calm, unaware. I should have kept walking. I should have. But something, curiosity, guilt, I don't know, made me pause. The floor creaked. He turned his head. Our eyes met. For a second, neither of us moved. He took out his earbuds slowly, like he was afraid I might disappear. Alyssa? His voice was low, uncertain. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, I couldn't sleep. He sat up, swinging his legs over the side of the bed. Me either. I stood there awkwardly, arms crossed over my chest. I was just getting water. You, wanna sit? I didn't answer, but I stepped in, closed the door behind me. The air changed. I sat at the edge of the bed, leaving space between us, the way people do when they're pretending that space still matters. He glanced at me, then looked down at his hands. I've been thinking about what you said, he murmured, about not pretending. I didn't speak. He shifted slightly. Can I ask you something? Okay. He hesitated long enough that I wasn't sure he'd say it. Did it bother you? What you saw? My stomach turned. I stared at the floor. It surprised me. That's all. That's not an answer. I looked at him. His expression was bare, raw. I don't know how to answer, I whispered. He nodded slowly, biting the inside of his cheek. Then he laughed softly, nervous, sad. I've seen you too, you know, he said suddenly. When you didn't know. I blinked. What? He looked down. A few months ago, you were wearing that old t-shirt, and the back door was open. I wasn't trying to. I mean, it just happened, but I couldn't forget it, and I hated that I didn't. My breath caught. Jace. I know what's wrong, he said, voice trembling. I know that, but sometimes I think you feel it too. The way you look at me, sometimes. I shook my head slowly. It's not that simple. Isn't it? He asked, softer now. Because right now, this feels pretty real to me. Silence fell again, but not the same kind. This one was charged. Full. Pressing. I should go back to bed, I whispered, standing up too fast. My pulse was pounding. Jace stood too. We were closer now. I didn't mean to make things worse, he said. I had to say it. I couldn't keep pretending. I nodded without looking at him. As I reached for the door, he said it quiet, but clear. I dream about you sometimes. I froze. Not just like that, he added quickly. I mean, I dream you're sitting next to me, like now, and everything's normal. You laugh, you touch my hand, and I don't feel wrong for wanting it. My fingers curled around the doorknob. I didn't turn it. My voice came out like a breath. Good night, Jace. I didn't mean to say too much, he said. But he did. And I didn't stop him. The days that followed felt like walking across a frozen lake. Every step threatened to crack the surface. We kept our distance, Not completely, but enough to make the silence between us feel intentional, like we were both trying to step back from something we had no business standing near. But distance doesn't fix anything when the tension is already living in the air. It clings to you. It breathes behind your neck. One evening, I was curled up on the couch with a book, pretending to read but not turning a single page. I heard the front door open, followed by uneven footsteps. Jace? I could tell immediately he was drunk. I got up fast. George was asleep upstairs. If Jace made too much noise... He stumbled in, hair messy, hoodie falling off one shoulder, cheeks flushed. "Alyssa?" He slurred softly. "Are you real, or am I dreaming again?" "Jace," I whispered, reaching for his arm. "You need to be quiet. George is home." He laughed, swaying. "Oops. Yeah. Quiet. Got it. Come with me, kitchen," I said quickly, guiding him as gently as I could. He let me lead him, his eyes never leaving my face. Something about the way he looked at me, unguarded, soft, vulnerable, made my chest tighten. "You're so beautiful," he mumbled. "Like, it actually hurts sometimes." "Stop," I said, barely above a whisper. "You're not thinking straight." "I am," he said. "I've never thought clearer." I got him to sit down, started boiling water for coffee. As I reached for a cup, his hand brushed against mine, not accidentally. I froze for a second. My fingers pulled away too slowly. "Don't be scared of me," he whispered. "I'm not scared," I said. "I just don't know what to do with any of this." "Me neither," he said. "But I'm tired of pretending it's not there." The kettle clicked off. I poured the water, hands shaking. Then his cup slipped. Water splashed over the counter. I grabbed a towel and leaned in to clean it quickly. "Sorry," he whispered again, but his voice was closer. Too close. I looked up, and his face was right there, inches away. His breath smelled like wine and something sweet. "You smell like cinnamon," he said with a soft grin. "Have you always smelled like that?" "Jace," I warned gently, straightening. He stood with me. We were suddenly eye to eye. "I think about that night," he said. "Not just the moment, but after. How you looked at me. How I felt. How much I wanted to tell you everything. And how afraid I was that if I did, I'd lose you." "You didn't lose me," I said. "But this can't happen." "It's already happening," he whispered. I stared at him, speechless. The kitchen light was too bright. Everything in me was screaming to pull away, to say something firm and final. Instead, I said, "You need to go lie down." He smiled faintly. "Will you help me get upstairs? I don't trust my legs." I hesitated, then nodded. We climbed the stairs in silence. I had my arm under his weight heavy and warm. When we reached his room, he leaned against the doorway for a second, breathing unevenly. "I'll be fine," he said, voice lower now. "You don't have to stay." But he didn't close the door. He didn't move. I sighed. "Let me make sure you're okay. Then I'll go." I helped him remove his hoodie. His shirt underneath clung to him. He'd been sweating. He tugged at it, trying to peel it off. "Here," I said, stepping forward, reaching for the hem. As I lifted the fabric, my fingers brushed his skin. He inhaled sharply. Our eyes met again. And this time, neither of us looked away. His chest rose and fell slowly, like he was holding something in or maybe hoping I wouldn't. "I'm not playing this game anymore, Alyssa," he said quietly. "I'm not playing anything," I whispered. "Yes, you are. Every time you pretend this isn't real. Every time you walk away." I shook my head, but I couldn't bring myself to speak. "You think I don't notice how you breathe around me? How your hands shake when I'm too close? How you look away like it'll erase the thoughts in your head?" "Jace," I breathed. "We're past pretending," he said. "We passed that night. You felt it too. I know you did." I stepped back. "I have responsibilities," I said. "People in this house. A life. And I'm not asking for any of that, he replied. I'm just asking you to stop lying to yourself. He stepped closer. I think about touching you every night, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. The air between us cracked open, heavy, charged, inevitable. Still, I whispered, you're drunk. I'm honest, he said. Drunk makes it harder to hide. His hand reached up slowly, hesitantly, and brushed my cheek. My body leaned in before I could stop it. I need to go, I said, but the words were empty. He was so close now. I could feel his breath when he whispered, then go. But I didn't. I didn't leave. I don't know how long we stood there, quiet, barely breathing, but I didn't move. And neither did he. His fingers were still resting against my cheek, warm, steady, unshaking. Mine were curled at my sides like I was trying to convince myself to walk away. But the truth is, I didn't want to. Say something, he murmured, his voice barely audible. I don't know what to say. Then don't, he said. Just stay. The room was still. The walls felt like they were listening. My heartbeat thundered in my ears, every second stretching thin. Then, he leaned in. Slowly, cautiously. His lips barely brushed mine, like asking a question without words. And when I didn't stop him, he kissed me fully. It was soft, careful, like he wasn't trying to take anything, just offer something fragile. I kissed him back. And that was it. There was no dramatic music, no explosion, just quiet, just heat, just the unraveling of whatever threads I had been clinging to. When we pulled apart, I opened my eyes and he was watching me. Still pretending? He whispered. I couldn't answer. My chest ached with too many things. Guilt, hunger, fear, relief. I let my hand rest on his shoulder. His breath hitched. We can't keep going, I said finally. You know that, right? I know, he said. But right now I don't care. And neither did I. I helped him sit down. He looked exhausted, drunk, emotionally spent, exposed in every way. I pulled the blanket over his legs, tucking it around him like it would somehow protect him from what just happened. I shouldn't have, I began, but he cut me off. No, don't regret it. I'm not saying I do, I said, staring at my own hands. But I will. His voice softened. Then just give me tonight. One night without the weight. That sentence hit me like glass because it was exactly what I wanted to do. But I knew what that meant. I knew that tonight would change everything. I don't know how it happened after that. Not exactly. Only that we stopped resisting. That our bodies filled in all the spaces our words had tiptoed around. We didn't rush. We didn't speak. We just let it happen. Every touch was a question. Every glance, an answer. And when it was over, the silence didn't feel heavy, it felt still, like we were suspended in a place outside the rules. Jace fell asleep, his head resting lightly against my shoulder. I sat there a long time, staring into the dim corner of the room, breathing in the scent of everything we weren't supposed to be. Eventually, I stood up, tucked him in like I was his past and his present and something dangerously close to home. I closed his door, locked it, and then I showered not to wash it off, but to feel something real again. Water, skin, silence. I dried my hair. I changed. I looked at myself in the mirror. And I didn't hate what I saw, but I didn't recognize her either. The next morning, nothing looked different. The sun still came through the blinds. George was still snoring upstairs. Coffee still brewed with the same gurgling sound. But I knew we had crossed a line, a big one, and we wouldn't be able to uncross it. I heard Jace's door open behind me. His steps were soft, hesitant. He stood in the kitchen doorway, hair messy, lips parted like he didn't know where to start. I looked up from my mug, held his gaze for a moment too long. Then I said, "You should get dressed. George will be up soon." And he nodded like he understood exactly what I meant. But also, what I didn't. This story isn't about heroes. It's not about villains either. It's about people. Messy, flawed, longing people who make choices and then have to live with them. Whatever happens next, it's already too late to pretend we were ever just strangers sharing a roof.